What was one of the hardest lessons you learned in being a parent?
That it's not about you. And at the same time, you have to be the best you so that you can make it not about you. Like it's a weird,
It's a paradox
space to be in, because I'm hell bent on taking care of myself physically, mentally, spiritually, as much as humanly possible, learning as much as I can, because I want to be as present as possible so that I can give all that up to be there for them. So then it's not about me, it's about them. Well, what am I bringing to the table to help shape them, to help steer them, to help show them the path? They have to walk it, but I want to show them the right path. Well, if I bring my baggage and my anger and my frustrations from this work thing, or, like Heather and I got in a fight about this, or, damn it, that, it could be anything. And I pour that energy into them. What are they receiving? They're not receiving the best version of me. I got to give them the best version of me, which means I need to create a balance in my life to take in all of these external influences and experiences and understand them, digest them, absorb them, and then come out of it the best possible person that I can be. So I need to do a lot of work for me to make it not about me, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. How did you get through, we were talking before we cold plunged, how did you get through that phase in early childhood with the kids when they're super young and you're married and the stress is at an all-time high? Maybe you're sleep deprived. Probably you are.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume. How did you get through that phase of the roommate section in the relationship?
So, there's this old expression that I have at different times lost track of and then revisited. Always date your wife. The idea that never, your wife, you are married, but treat her like she's your girlfriend. And remember the qualities from that chapter that you never want gone. And we had the ability during the roommate years to laugh about our circumstances.
Just how hard it was.
I mean, you kind of have to. And I'd already gone through the SEAL Fit stuff. I'd gone through some of this heavy mental training. I'd learned about box breathing. I learned about different ways to cope with all this external stress in the world. And these are really handy tools, but also have a sense of humor about it. And I definitely, you got to be able to crack wise about how ridiculous parenting is. And
it's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. The things that we do, jamming for 5 minutes on the Monster song, because that's what you have to do with a 3-year-old. You got to talk about this.
Yes.
And watching temper tantrums happen and watching them lose their minds and not lose your own mind in the process, because we all have our own fuses and sometimes they get cut short.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? Right. That's the self-work. And we were both in tune with that. And my wife's a newscaster. So she gets up at 3:00 in the morning. She lives sleep deprived. So 3 a.m. and her job is on live TV, and then she's done and home by 10:30, 11 in the morning. That means her day is done at 11 a.m. and she clicks back into parenting mode, right? So the rest of us just started our workday a couple hours earlier. We're going to work till 5 or 6 at night. Then we're going to come home and do all that stuff. So we've always had a different baseline.
Yeah.
We had a sense of humor about the sleep deprivation and about, what we were going through. And we kind of powered our way through it. The passion has always been there. I've always been incredibly physically attracted to my wife. So, she's the hottest woman on the planet to me. She's hot, and my wife's a smoke show. So during those years, we didn't lose that passion, but there's another passion that plays into it, and that's that passion for your children. And that kind of allowed for the roommate phase to kind of pass us by a little bit while I was still so physically attracted to her. So I was still trying to date her. And then we still, it allowed us to, I think, absorb the kid phase a little bit better. And that wasn't a flawless process, to be clear.
Yeah, there's some bumps along the way,
there's
right?
so many bumps along the way.
There's moments where you're like, why do I feel so like I'm in a cave of my own? I'm sure you felt that at times.
I felt useless was probably the worst thing. I hated not being a provider. And let me define that. I can't breastfeed the kid. I'm effectively useless in shaping their lives other than keeping them occupied for 5 minutes. So like I could provide value. If I could provide a service, then like I would go and do those things. I would mow the lawn and I would make sure that the yard was well manicured. My wife could give 0 Fs about that, but it was important to me to keep doing something.
Yeah.
Because she had the nurturing part down. And I felt like my frustration at that time was that I couldn't do those things. I found my calling later as a parent. Like kids started turning 3 and 4. All of a sudden there's a buddy phase. They're a little bit more emotionally in tune with the parenting. That's when things really clicked in.
Yeah.
So I had to survive those first couple of years. We have a boy and a girl, and they're 2 years apart.
Same exact situation.
Really, same situation that you're in.
Same exact.
I remember where you are. I remember dearly where I was, and it was that roommate phase that you refer to.
Yeah.
The ability to get out of it happens by genuinely appreciating the person that you chose to have this adventure with. Like you chose to have this adventure with your wife, with your partner, with whomever. And when you do that, like there's a commitment there. But to make it fun, to have a sense of humor, to tap into that, I think it starts with a true appreciation of that partner and what they bring to the table.
So the humor comes from the baseline of appreciation.
Oh, it can't come from anywhere else. If you don't appreciate your partner,
there's no humor possible.
There's no humor possible. Like you're not even happy. So there's no humor in that state. But if you can appreciate what they brought to the table, this person that you wanted to have sex with, you wanted to have a baby with, like it's a powerful feeling.
Yeah.
The sex is great. The have a baby part's like, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Like I am moved to want to have a child with this person. Like I can't imagine doing that with anybody else. It is you. Women respond really well, and I've learned this later in life, to feeling safe. Like this is biology stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very much I'm a geek on this stuff now, where I date my wife now, but there were years in all of this. It wasn't the roommate phase per se, when I was so busy building the business. I got so busy trying to provide, like, my motivation for BUBS and like my spark for it. It has this it has a couple of different directions, but the biggest direction is helping the whole world live a healthy, full life, to go chase adventures. Over here, it's providing for my family, and it's providing that world where we can have our adventures. We can do those things together. Well, I have to make this really hum and perfect, my standards, to make this work. But how do you be in both places at once? And that's a really, really difficult place to be. How do I leave this at the doorstep when I walk in the door? And I failed at that for several years, where I brought all of the storm of being an entrepreneur and solving problems and having crazy circumstances at work, and I brought them into the home. The stresses of work. And I thought I had it dialed. I walked in, I thought I had the best poker face ever. And I didn't even realize it for 2 years. All I could talk about was that storm to my wife. Well, that's not dating her. Well, that doesn't do anything for her.
And do you feel like it, in a way, it made her not feel safe?
Oh God, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm getting at. Like, I didn't recognize it at the time, but I wasn't coming in and appreciating her and showing her like all the feels that I had for her. They were in me. I would look at her and be like, she's so, so beautiful. But I wouldn't say it. I would think it. Well, duh, doesn't she know? Like, I'm looking at her, like that means I love her and she's beautiful. Doesn't work that way. And so now, after doing, layers of reading, I'm like, oh, there's these things called the love languages. They're real. Those 7 love languages are real. We've taken the tests, what her love languages are, what my love languages are, where there's overlap, how do we feed each other into those? I've become really geeked on an author named Alison Armstrong.
Oh, yes. She's going to be here in 2 weeks.
You kidding me?
Right where you're sitting.
You're kidding me.
No.
All right. So I've never heard of this
amazing.
woman until the last year. And I have read Understanding Women. I've read the Queen's Code,
Yeah.
and now I've read Celebrating Men. Or is it Celebrating Women, Understanding Men?
It's literally the best codes for relationship I've ever seen. Whoa. If you enjoyed that one you just saw, you will love this one on the screen. Click it and enjoy.